Guys, this is crazy. Wlfi Finance literally launched, a few days ago, and they've already blacklisted Justin Sun's wallet, blacklisting his entire $500 million worth of Wlfi that he paid for, guys. Okay, so he wasn't just given this, he actually paid for these tokens in a fair deal, in a fair trade. Now, I don't like Justin Sun. A lot of people don't like Justin Sun, but because we dislike him, is it okay for a company just to freeze your assets without? This isn't the rule of the company. This is the rule of the SEC, right? There's laws and processes that these things have to go through. You can't just come out and freeze someone's assets, right? This is exactly what Eric was talking about. This is what Eric was talking about when he was talking about being debanked, right? Just listen to this.
But the reality is the banking system in this country is absolutely antiquated. It doesn't work. It's costly. It's slow as hell. I would have never been in crypto had we not been debanked and deplatformed by absolutely everyone. If I wasn't getting the letters from Capital One saying, congratulations, 300 of your accounts are gone overnight, believe me, I wouldn't have found this industry. But this is an industry that within a year, everybody's going to be in. And when I say everybody, I mean everybody, every bank, every consumer, because this is just the way of the future. And it's an honor to be part of it. And frankly, I'm glad my father's leading the way on it, because otherwise...
I can't believe they're literally doing the same thing that they preached against. And Justin Sun has come out and he actually denies the claims that he sold his tokens. And some people have actually done some on-chain research. It's very hard to do this when you're searching with centralized exchanges and off-chain. But some people have actually come out and said that he wasn't dumping and that it was actually market makers and other whales that were dumping. Because don't forget, a lot of the pre-sale buyers were in huge profits. I think some of the pre-sale buyers were up 20x or 30x. And, 20x, 30x on $1 million, it's a lot of money, right? People are going to take some profits off the table. So I'm not saying that he didn't, okay? He's the type of person that would take profits on launch, as most smart investors would, right? If you're 20x in profits on launch and, you're up 20, 30, 40, 50 million, you'd be an idiot not to sell and take some profits off the table, especially when most token launches do dump by 80, 90%, right? Most new protocols that launch in the space, for the same reasons that this project had flaws, because they done a cheap pre-sale, they got loads of hype on launch, people normally sell and take profits, right? The same thing happens over and over again. So, shouldn't he be allowed to sell his unlocked tokens? Yes, he should be allowed. He paid for these tokens. They were happy to take the money in pre-sale. They were happy to take the money up front. He can say, I might not sell. Maybe I will sell. He can say what the hell he likes. They're his tokens, right? He's allowed to do what the hell he likes with those tokens. You can't go and freeze someone's assets without going through the law, without going through the system, right? This is a case for the SEC to look at. And if he wanted to sell those tokens, he should have been allowed to. The question is, we don't even know if he was dumping or not, right? So let's say he wasn't dumping and he was holding. Who else was dumping? And what happens when Justin Sun's tokens become unlocked? It could be a can of worms for Wlfi Finance. And it wasn't just the one wallet. They blacklisted around 272 wallets have been blacklisted. I believe these were all Justin Sun's, but don't quote me on this. Now, I don't know if you know, guys, but I posted this recently. I said Wlfi Financial basically promoted itself as a decentralized and censorship resistant protocol, which is why so many people flock to it, right? Eric Trump had the pitch, we're different from the banks can just debank you, and they changed the contract at the last minute. So the contract didn't actually have a freeze option. There was no option to freeze people's assets, which is why a lot of people were like, this is great, this is cool protocol, my assets can't get frozen, this is not like the banks. And the contract itself was actually upgraded moments before it went live to include a freeze function. So all of the people who kind of invested in this early, they weren't made aware of this freeze function and that your wallet could potentially be frozen or blacklisted. And early investors did not invest into this version of the contract. So I don't know if they could potentially get shut down. I don't think Justin Sun's going to let this lie. I don't know. I think they've crossed a lot of lines here, freezing a wallet, without going down the legal process. and taking someone's money, and they're frozen the unlocked tokens, right? Not just the locked tokens, the actual unlocked tokens which you've paid for, and they're going to have to prove it. You can't just freeze someone's tokens without proving it. They're going to have to prove it, and if they can't come up with that evidence and they can't prove it, then they're going to get into a lot of trouble. Also, if Justin Sun's tokens are unlocked, I don't know what they're even going to have to prove, because he has legal right to sell his own tokens that he's paid for. Absolutely crazy. What's interesting, so Wlfi Finance started pumping in the last few hours. I say pumping, right? It's still massively down. And it started pumping, and as I said to you guys, look, there's no point long in this until you get a buy signal, because the trend is your friend until the end. It could just continue to fall, to fall, to fall, to fall. But I said if it reverses at some point or another, you're going to get a buy signal from the SMC bot, and we had a fantastic buy signal down here and a great sell signal up here. This is where I started to short. This is where I started to take shorts, and I took some profits off the table, made an absolute killing, and I didn't long this. Now, I did see this buy signal flash up yesterday. For me, there was too much going on with the news, and I also had a look around it, and there was some dodgy buys going around online. I don't think this is organic. I'm going to show you guys, actually. The volume has jumped up by 84% in a very short amount of time. So I went and had a look at some of the orders. You see these massive candles all of a sudden. This is not organic, right? You see these massive buys coming in, massive push to the top, massive push to the top. On a weekend, when historically volume is very, very low, on a weekend, during, max FUD around this protocol that now can freeze random wallets and, might be in a lot of trouble, so I actually went and looked at these candles. So if we have a look at each individual candle, if we look at the biggest buyers on this candle, who do we see? Wintermute. 1 million tokens were purchased. Someone else here, a bot purchased 383k. This is another bot wallet. So yeah, 3 suspicious wallets bought on this candle. Let's go and have a look at the next big candle here. We had a massive candle here. Who do we see at the top? Wintermute. 1.93 million tokens were purchased by Wintermute. Let's have a look at this other big candle here. Is it going to be Wintermute again? Wintermute, 1.06 million purchase in tokens. So again, a market maker purchasing most of the tokens. A market maker. What do market makers do? Most of the time, they're trying to liquidate people. They're trying to liquidate shorts, and they are trying to liquidate longs. So yeah, I'm very suspicious about this move, guys. I don't know how long it's going to last. I don't know if it's going to last. Obviously, we're back to the working week. Tomorrow, there's going to be a lot of volume. It's going to be extremely volatile because we had really bad jobs data, and people are sort of wondering, are we going into a recession? Is this the warning signs of a recession? Is this going to continue to get bad? And it's been the data that we've talked about for a while, right? I said we might not see bad data until August, September, and we're now starting to see that data. And bad jobs is an indicator of it's the leading indicator for a potential recession. We might have already be in a recession, and it might get a lot worse. And then we've got AI taking jobs on top of that, which I think is massively underestimated, how much the AI is going to affect jobs. And then you have rate cuts, right? So you have rate cuts, potentially a 50 basis, a 0.5 basis cut coming. It's probably going to be a 2.5 cut, but who knows? There's now a chance for a 50 basis cut. So you do have rate cuts coming. Historically, Q4 is quite bullish, but everyone is hoping for this Q4 rally. So is the market going to give everybody what they're hoping for and expecting, or is it going to do the opposite of what the majority expect? It's not an easy trade right now. We're kind of betting on whether the market is more worried about a recession, or whether the market is more bullish on rate cuts and us having a soft landing and being able to get through this. So it's not an easy call. Anyone who says they know what's going to happen is guessing. Nobody knows. This is why I'm just trading the levels. One thing we do have is gold is absolutely rocked in, and that screams that the system is still worried, right? The system is going into risk-off assets. Gold is just hitting all-time high after all-time high. Even after going up $10 trillion in a very short amount of time, it's continued to push up to new all-time highs, and banks are buying gold like crazy, which screams to me that they are worried about something failing in the system, maybe a recession. So I don't really want to mess around with this. I would not hold this into a bear market. I wouldn't hold this regardless, but there's a lot of people trying to sell this and pitch this, and It's not for me. It's not for me, especially after this move. You're basically moving away from the pitch, which I might have been quite interested in this. This approach of moving away from the banks and not debanking people. It's why we joined crypto. Most of us joined crypto for this exact reason. This is why we fell in love with Bitcoin, the decentralization of it, right? And taking the power away from the banks and giving it back to the people. This is not what it's about. This is not what Web3 is about. And I don't know who on earth is going to hold 10, 50, $100 million in this token, knowing that it can just be frozen at any moment and that this protocol is just going to hold court themselves, right? They're not going to give you a heads up or a warning. They're not going to go to the SEC. They're not going to follow the laws. They could just come out and block your tokens at any moment. Who on earth? People are going to get their tokens when those tokens unlock. People are going to sell them, right? Who on earth is going to hold them in there in such large amounts? Maybe they'll have a small amount in, maybe they'll de-risk, but who is going to hold large amounts knowing that one individual can turn around and say, no, sorry, I know you purchased these tokens, but we think you've been up to no good. We think you've been a bit suspicious. But I haven't been suspicious. No, well, we think you have. So we're going to freeze your assets. But I need these assets. I need them to give to customers. I need them for market making. Doesn't matter. We suspect you are up to no good. You can't. This is not right, guys. You can't operate like this. And I would be surprised if any whales continue to stay in this. Justin Sun responds saying our addresses only carried out a few general exchange deposits tests with very small amounts, followed by address dispersion. No buying or selling was involved, so it could not possibly have an impact on the market. So if he's telling the truth, okay, which it's Justin Sun. It's probably not. It's probably not. But we don't know if he is. This is his argument. This is their argument. There's two sides to the story. We can't go with either one, right? Both of them are probably going to be over exaggerated. And but this is his side of the story. And if he can prove this, if he can say, look, I didn't sell any tokens. Here's all the receipts. Here's my, this is the beautiful thing about the blockchain. They're going to be able to back some of it up. Probably not the centralized moves are going to be able to backed up. But if he can prove this, Wlfi Finance is in a lot of trouble, right? Because then you're going down the avenues of market manipulation and I don't know if there's specific trades on that didn't want to get hit. I don't know. It's very, very dangerous. This is not new, right? So if Justin Sun is doing this, this is not new. This has been going on for a very long time. And Wlfi Finance probably should have known this was a potential play. So I don't know if you know this, but basically what a lot of institutions and companies do, or have started to do aggressively lately, is they buy assets that are locked. So they buy tokens that are locked, and then they sell them to retail, and they ask retail to lock their tokens up for a stake, right? So for example, let's talk about this case here. So this is an example of, do you remember when FTX went down? This is so suspicious as well, by the way, guys. Basically, when Galaxy sold itself locked Solana coins at 1/3 of the market price, the committee remained silent, exploiting its conflicted relationship with the FTX bankruptcy. So in March 2024, Galaxy Digital purchased $620 million worth of locked Solana. So they couldn't actually sell this Solana on the market. It was locked. And they purchased the tokens at a cost price of $64. Okay, so even though the market value is 185, because the tokens were locked, because they're an institution, that price is insane. I mean, look, anyone would have taken. They could have got a lot more than $64. Anyone would have taken that opportunity. So they purchased it at $64, resulting in well over $1 billion loss to the estate based on contemporaneous trading from CoinMarketCap. This self-dealing transaction, where Galaxy acted as both the advisor and the buyer, violated basic fiduciary principles and the investment advisor agreement approved by the court. So, real shady deal there, right? They were the advisor and the buyer. And if you're the advisor and the buyer, you're of course going to advise the cheapest price for yourself. Crazy, crazy low price. So let's say what they do, so they've bought all these locked tokens. So let's say they bought 500 million tokens that are locked. They then go and figure out ways how they can sell this to retail. One of those ways that they sell it to retail is through APR, right? So through interest. And they say, hey, stake your Solana with us, right? So I'm planning to hold some Solana for a very long time. And a lot of people are, right? A lot of people are planning to hold Solana into the next bull run. They'll probably buy in the bear market. And they'll give really good APR. So they'll say like 20% APR, which is pretty good, right? It's pretty good. If you're a whale, especially for whales who are really confident on Solana, there's an ETF coming. There's probably going to be institutional adoption. 20% is pretty good, right? If I put $10 million into Solana, I'm a whale. I'm going to have $12 million on it once I get my unlocked Solana, right? It's going to be $2 million basically extra worth of Solana just from staking. Great deal. If you're a whale, great deal. Even e-retail kind of like this, right? I don't really like it. I wouldn't do this with $1,000. You know, $1,000, and I'm risking $1,000 to make $200. It's a very small amount, and you know, I'd prefer to trade. If I was smaller, I'd try and trade the swings. I'd try and sell Solana on the sell signal. I would try and buy Solana on the buy signal. I'd try and accumulate more this way, as opposed to staking. But for whales, brilliant, right? Money makes money. So they basically buy it. So they've managed to buy it at a stupidly low price. And then what they can do is sell it to retail. So they can sell the locked tokens to retail at market price. So I think Solana is, around $200 today. So basically for every Solana they purchased for $64, they can sell it for $200 immediately. Obviously they're losing 20% on the APR, but how much have they pocketed from buying it from the estate at $64? You know, they're on around 300%, and they're losing 20%, so they're sitting on around 280% gain. What a deal! What a free money deal! Just complete free money, because you are the advisor, because you're in the inside, because you're an institution. You get the opportunity to buy all that Solana so cheap, and then you sell it to retail. Bang, free money. Something we need to be a little bit concerned about is Galaxy Digital are also launching the fund, right? Look what they're doing now. Galaxy Digital, Multicoin Capital, and Jump Crypto are in talks with potential backers about raising roughly $1 billion to accumulate Solana in what would be the largest treasury dedicated to the digital token. Okay, so it wasn't just Galaxy. There were some other entities. I think it might have been one of these other entities that also got to buy those FTX tokens at locked prices. I can't confirm this, but are you telling me that those holders who had FTX, all of the retail guys that had their accounts frozen, and are you telling me that Solana is $200 today, and unfortunately they're only going to get $64 because Galaxy Digital brought it off them at $64? If so, that is disgusting. That is absolutely disgusting. They should get market value for that Solana, because they still have that Solana, right? Why are they selling it to large institutions at such a discount? That is, if that's true, that's horrific. Don't quote me on that, because I'm not sure, but something's off there, and I don't know why it's not been sold at market value and given because those retail advisors had to force. They weren't able to move their Solana to their decentralized wallets, and most of them probably would have wanted to hold into a bull run. They wouldn't have wanted to sell. So, you know, for selling at 64 is disgusting. So bear in mind, they've got this treasury coming. Look, I don't know. Maybe there's going to be more incentives to stake and to lock tokens, but I think there's going to be a lot of sell pressure because they had so many locked tokens. I think we're probably going to see the same thing that Justin Sun's just done. They're going to lock their tokens. And the insiders who managed to buy from FTX are probably going to dump on the market, which might put a lot of sell pressure on Solana guys, because we're talking about, you know, hundreds of millions, if not billions, that probably could get dumped. So not good for Sol long term, great for Sol. Sorry, not good for Sol short term, great for Solana long term, because once that's all dumped, that's great. You know, we can track some of their wallets and see when they've dumped a lot of it. But yeah, great for the bear market. We'll probably have a really aggressive bear market for Solana. which is what you want, right? If you're a swing trader like we are, we started to sell Solana at 190. I sold my second batch around 250, and I've got one more moon bag left, and I don't know when I'm going to sell that. Maybe it's going to be next week. Maybe it's going to be Q4. I don't know. I just go with the market. But you know, as a swing trader, I want to see the biggest crash on Solana, and I want to see the biggest bull run, right? This is where I'm planning to buy, and I've already taken profits in the rallies. So yeah, this is how the game works, guys. And I think the Trump camp know that, right? They should have known that when Justin Sun put $100 million or whatever he put into World Liberty Finance, they know how this game works, and it's not new what he's doing, right? It's not new. It might even be legal. If he has $100 million in locked tokens, and he asks users to stake, you know, if you're a retail, he's like, hey, stake, I'll give you 20% APR, and you have to stake for 1 year, and then if all of his tokens are going to be unlocked under 1 year, I don't think that's actually illegal. He's basically selling his locked tokens, which I don't think is illegal. And if it was illegal, I don't think we'd see, we'd see other entities and institutions doing it. I'm pretty sure it's legal, as long as you have the asset there. You know, it's a contract, right? It's a smart contract. It's going to get unlocked. It's going to get unlocked into your name, and you're going to have that as liquid assets. So as long as you have the underlying asset there, I don't think it is illegal. I think Justin Sun is well within his rights to sell those locked tokens through users. Now, you can't manage users' funds. I know that. So, but it's staking it, right? It's actually confirming with them that it's staked. So it's a little bit different because it's staked, and he's basically swapping his staked tokens for their staked tokens, and they're both Solana tokens. So I don't know where it stands. I don't know where it stands with that. It's a pretty smart tactic, and this is why the top do it, right? This is why they buy these. They buy these discounted locked tokens, and then they can instantly sell it for cash. It's crazy, really. It is crazy, but that's the game. This is how Sam Bankman-Fried got rich. He was buying assets from one exchange, and I think it was in China. It was a lot more expensive on Chinese exchanges, and he was buying it. Sorry, he was buying it from the West and then selling it on Chinese exchanges for a premium. And you know, he was one of the first people to catch on to that, and that's also legal too, right? If you it's what most businesses do, right? Most businesses on Amazon, they're buying. There's a millionaire in England, and he just buys iPhone chargers from China, and he sells them for a price to the West. He sells them at a markup, and he's a self-made millionaire just from Apple phone chargers, and he buys them and he sells them. He's a middleman. There's nothing wrong with that, right? You can buy Bitcoin from one exchange, sell it on another exchange. It's called arbitraging, and I don't like some of these systems. I don't like some of these people. I don't like Justin Sun, but we can't argue with what they're allowed to do, and why are some entities potentially allowed to do it and other entities aren't, right? It's crazy. I hate it. I really don't. It's not even about money for me. I don't even care if I lose a trade on this, right? It's not about money for me. It's about decentralization. It's about crypto. This is the whole reason crypto blew up, is because of the decentralization. It's given power back to the people. And we're just seeing the space come so centralized now. It's disgusting. It's becoming so centralized. It's like being back in the banking system, and it's becoming so corrupt with people buying stake tokens, and these are people's tokens, man. These were people's tokens from FTX. Why are they not being sold at market value? Why are they being given to these entities at such a discount, right? That's not right, man. And then they just get to sell it. They just get to sell it at current market price. That's insane. That's absolutely disgusting. Tell me what your thoughts are on this, guys. I don't know what I can or can't comment on this platform. So if you want to get involved, head over to my X. If you want to follow, head over to my X. I'm always posting updates on there about sort of trade setups I'm doing, what trades I'm taking. You can see here's my recent trades. Open along on BTC at 109,590, 40x, and we came back into the Fibonacci zone there, and we had a lovely bounce, made an absolute killing on that. BTC $12,000. You can see my entry there, 109,500. ETH $3,600. I think I made around $17,000 or $18,000. I also took some degen longs on CoinW as well. So yeah, just in like a day. So this was the next day, right? I took this trade, and then I think the next day I was up like $17,000. It's crazy. If you want to see these buy and sell alerts in my Discord, head over to my X, so you can see the name of my channel here. So search this, and then you click this link here, and that'll take you to my main page. And there's like loads of little emblems, and then you'll see that emblem for Patreon, and then click that, and then you can sign up and join the Patreon. You also get this for free. You get the SMC bot for free. So you see these buy and sell signals. You get this for free. And, you know, if you took a long there, you printed. If you took a short there, you printed. If you took a long there, you printed. It's really cool. It's not going to be right all the time, but it's really, really good. Look at this as well. We had another green bottoms indicator down here. You see this bright green indicator? So on the legend over here, when you get this bright green, it means you're in the start of an uptrend. And we had this bright green flash, and it literally marked the bottom of that move, right? So if you longed at 0.16, you're probably very happy when it pushed up to 0.24. What would I do if I'm in a long here? So if you are in a long, guys, if you did take this long, I would have a trailing stop loss probably above the SMC hourly here. So you see on the way down, it acts as resistance. You see when it comes back, it gets rejected, and then until it breaks above, it's bearish, and then it breaks above and it's bullish. The same usually happens when it flips. You see here when we got the buy signal, where do we come back to? Exactly back to the SMC support on the hourly, and then I would just ride this until you get a sell. So if it comes back down here, it might do something like this, and then if it does this, and then eventually it's going to break, and that's where I'll take my short position. It might even break here, right? We might even break down here. I would just take the short as soon as we get the break, because that's usually when we're going to start to dump and start to tank. But the trend is your friend until the end. The background's going green, so notice we've gone from this red to this green. We had the bottom signal down here. You know, you've had the buy signal here. Trend is your friend, and then look, if it pushes up like this, you could technically take a long position here as well, and try to look for a bounce off of this level. So I would just set a trailing stop loss and let it ride. As soon as it broke that line, then I would take profits on my long position. Let me know what you're doing. If you want to get that, that comes free with the Discord group. So you get the buy and sell alerts, and you also get the SMC bot in your own trading view. Don't forget, none of the information in this video is financial advice. Do your own research. Investing in crypto is highly risky. Investing in anything is highly risky. You can lose all your money investing. So always do your own research. I'm not a financial advisor. Press the like button on the video if you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to subscribe, and press the bell notification button on YouTube to stay up to date with all the latest. I'm going to try and keep you guys posted on the market. I'm probably going to do a market update tomorrow, because after the jobs data come out, we've got so many different macro factors that could shape the market now. Especially, recession is on the cards, right? Especially a labor market recession is on the cards. We need more data. The data is going to be so key in the coming months, especially jobs data. If it continues to spike, a lot of people are gonna duck out of this market. So yeah, let me know what you're doing. If you want to talk about this, go to my X and comment on my X posts, and I can get back to you on there. Nice one for watching. Until then, I'll catch you in the next one.